Do you ever get an idea in your head, one that you can't really function with until you bring it into fruition, until you make that dream come true or that thought come true? Well, I was in bed and my alarm went off and I had this idea. I woke up with this idea that it would be so cool to play Jimi Hendrix's Monterey Pop Strat, you know, the one that he like wrote all over and drew all over and sprayed. But have you seen the prices of those things? They're so expensive and I can't afford one of them. So I was sitting there with my coffee thinking, I could just build one. Or I could just build one. Let's build one. I'm gonna grab some coffee. So let's build a Monterey Pop Strat on a tight budget, let's say £150 in our house with no real equipment. Here we go. It's my cup. So what have we got to get this guitar build going? So we've got a Hosco guitar kit, which I bought off eBay for like £85 or $100 or whatever it was. It's cheap. It's pretty good quality for what it was, actually. As you can tell, the headstock needs to be cut out, so I need to fix that. But other than that, all the hardware was there. It looks like alright stuff. We should end up with something good in the end. In terms of paint, I've gone for Halfords, which is like a car place, like a DIY car place in the UK. I've gone for white as a base, and to kind of see if we can get that stripe, but I've got something else coming up for that. Red, which I've gone for like an Audi red, apparently. It was the closest one I could get. I'm kind of colorblind, so red is red for me. And then the other one I got was, like I said, rather than going for white, I've gone for Ibis white, which is kind of like an off color, like a smoker's white, which we'll give it a go. We'll see which works best. And then for the drawing on it, I've gone for these acrylic markers. I don't know whether that'll work, but I think that's going to be the easiest way of doing it. And then the most difficult part was the neck on the actual guitar is like a tan, like a tinted color, which you're not going to be able to find in Halfords. You're not going to get like Fender guitar neck tint in a car shop. So I've gone for some wood stain, an Italian walnut wood stain. We'll see what that does. But it should be okay. I think we should get away with it. So I guess the next thing to do is to cut that headstock out and get on with the building. So as you can see, we need to shape this headstock. So at the moment, it's like this really weird kind of shape, and we need to make it look more like Fender's kind of headstock. Obviously, we're not trying to reproduce a Fender in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to say Fender on the headstock. But I like it to look kind of that way, you know what I mean? There's no way we're passing this off as anything other than what it is. So I think the best way to do it is if I take some measurements of the nut on this Fender here, and then we can transfer that over to this guitar and then kind of work the headstock shape out of the dimensions, because if we just try and copy this, it's not going to be the same, because these older Fenders had like a smaller headstock on them, and this one's quite a larger one. Not like the 70s large, but it is larger. So I think that's the kind of the case. Now I'm going to look for an image of a Fender headstock and use that to kind of trace that or work that around. So I think that's the plan, and then we get to cut it out, which is the best part. So let's run that B-roll and let's get right to it. So I've done it, I've cut it out, and let me show you, I've sanded the hell out of it too. I didn't film it because, one, it's not difficult, I used 80, 160, 320, and 400 just to like build your way up. Use the 80 to rough it in, to get it to where you want to, and then the other one's just to polish out the previous sandpaper scratches. That's about it. And also, the dust gets everywhere, so I didn't really want it getting into this camera, because that would be a pain to get out. But that's where we are. So I've sanded it and it looks really good. There are a few little mistakes, I'll be honest with you, where I was cutting it out on my garage floor and I slipped. So There is a few little places where we're going to have to cover it, and I think we're going to do that by giving it a stinger. So I don't know whether you've seen that before. It's where the paint kind of like comes down onto the back of the neck, but I also want to paint the front of it. So this entire like neck headstock section here is going to be the same color as the body. We're going to give it a white base coat, red over the top, and then give it that stripe, which I think will look really cool. It'll set it apart from all the other Monterey Pop Strats I've seen. I think it'll look kind of cool, give it that little bit of our own edge. But that's the plan. So now it's sanded, we really start with paint, which is really cool. This is my favorite part. Let's get painted. So I've been working on this scratch plate, and let me show you where I'm at. Let me try and get the camera up. Yeah, boy, look at that. I'm thinking that's pretty cool. I've got a picture of it up on there from the old Googloo, and I'm just kind of copying it. And these, where's it gone? These paint markers that I was off about works surprisingly well. Like, I'm not having any issues with them, which I'm surprised at. They take a little longer to dry than I wanted them to, but they're pretty good. So this is turning out all right. We do need to find a way to cover the pickups and stuff, or we can just probably pull them out. That may be the best way of doing it, because we're gonna have to like give this scratch plate a once over with some clear, just so it doesn't pull off. But it's working well. I'm gonna get back to this and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. But I'm literally just, I don't know whether you can see it. Let me pull down. I am literally just, I've drawn roughly on there where I need to go, and I'm just filling it in. There's no real science to it. Just take what's on the screen and put it on there. It's kind of how it works. Wish me luck. So a little bit of an update as to where we are. So last time you saw, I was doing the scratch plate, which is now pretty much done. Check that out. I know the sun is making it difficult for you to see, but I'm basically putting this little bit here sorted now, like this little bit. So if you look, that bit is going there. That's probably going to be the last update I give you on the painting section of it, because it's not really complicated. Just take what's on the picture and put it on the guitar. Yeah, I'll show you when it's done. Check this out. Let me flip my screen around so I know what I'm doing. Look at this. Oh yeah, look at that. Looking pretty good. I've done a few little things that aren't 100% accurate, like I've added a little heart up here to cover a little bit of body mess. But other than that, it's pretty much spot on. Yeah, I think it's working out pretty well. Time for clear coat.
It's time to clear coat, like my favorite part.
So it's our favorite time, and by favorite I mean my least favorite time. It's time to sand, and I'm going to use 1000 grit, 12,000 grit, 1,500 grit, maybe 2,000 grit, depending on where we are. But basically, I'll show you now. I've got a sanding block, some water on the side, and some sandpaper, and that's it. I'm literally going to sand it. The idea is to make it as dull as possible. We want to get all the shine out of it so we can then polish it back up. And that's kind of the idea, get the orange peel out of it. If you spray something and you look at it under the light, you kind of see like this wavy kind of like, it looks like orange peel. That's kind of why they call it that. You want to get rid of that. So you want to take the high spots down to the low spots, and then we can polish it out. I'm probably not going to be able to get it as orange peel-less as I'd like, just because of how raised up the paint will be from the markers. But we can do our best. We'll do our best. You know, at the end of the day, this is a very, very budget build. And we need to remember that it's not going to be perfect. But it'll be close. It'll be close. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to film it because once, like I said before, I like this camera and I don't want to get sand in it. And by sand, I mean like sand dust and all that jazz. So I will come back to you once I've done that. So we're finally at that part where we can start putting the guitar together. It's been wet sanded, like I said, up to 2,000 grit. Which revealed a few little issues, but nothing that's too much. I checked the level of the neck. The neck is really good, and you know what? The frets are pretty damn good too. So we're gonna string it up the way it came out of the box, just to kind of see what type of quality you get out of one of these guitar kits. And I'm kind of lazy, and I don't really want to do a fret job if I don't need to do a fret job. So that's the reason for that. But yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. We're on the last hurdle. Let's get the parts on this. I'm gonna try and film as much of it as I can. And next time I see you, we'll have a fully functioning, working Jimi Hendrix Monterey Pop Strat for under £150. So close. So we're at that point where we're time to put the bridge in. And I think the best way to do this is to string it up with a low E and a high E, run it down so we get them centered on the neck. And then we can worry about, you know, where the placement is. There's a lot of room back here, and not only that, Strats have quite a lot of adjustments, so it's not a huge issue, but we are kind of, you know, we don't have a huge play going back and forth because of the scratch plate. I had to put the scratch plate on because the scratch plate on this kit goes under the neck because there's a little bit of a hangover. I don't know whether you can see it. Let me see if I can get you to see that. Come on. No, you can't. But that hangs over like maybe 4 or 5 mil. So we had to do scratch plate and then put the neck on, which was a pain because I'd already put the neck on, so I had to take the neck off, put the neck back on. But I think it's time to string this up and get this done. I'm going to mark out 25.5, which is the scale length. So we get the scale length right roughly in the center of these, and then we'll get it strung up on the neck, and this should be pretty close. Then it's just electrics. Hoo-hoo-hoo. So here it is, it's done. It sounds pretty damn good. It sounds like a Strat, if not a little out of tune. Sounds like a Strat. Middle neck position. Does that Hendrix. Sing pretty well. You know, you can do all that kind of stuff. Does very nice. I like it. It's different playing on such thin strings. These are the strings that came with the pack. But it does the thing. Neck is kind of nice. nice. And then, you know, I quite like the bridge and the middle. You get that quacky kind of like, kind of nice, yeah. And then bridges, as always on a Strat, pretty much useless until you do the little tone conversion, which I haven't done, but I'm happy, man. It sounds like a Strat, which is incredible considering we spent, what, 130 quid on it, something like that. If you like the video, please subscribe. I've got some more of these coming up, and I'll see you in the next one. I guess I'll play you out if I can. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. It sounds like a Strat.